Saturday. So we have a year-long celebration for him, for this momentous milestone. 90 years is a long event. So who among you have gone here before? Okay, so I'll give a few background here on Fundacion Sansó and the museum so that you could understand where we're coming from. I hope you don't mind. Please make yourself comfortable. So this is Mr. Fundacion Sansó. He is an artist who has been awarded and recognized by 3 countries. Here in the Philippines, our President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo gave him the Presidential Medal of Merit for his contribution in art. The French government gave him a Knight of Arts and Letters, and the Spanish king gave him the Cross of Isabella for his accomplishments in art. His Spanish by citizenship, but really Filipino at heart. And a lot of his art has been gaining a lot of attention in the auctions, most especially because of the prices they command. So this one almost reached 7 million. Yeah. So consistently over the past few years, the auction houses have shown him a lot of attention. But prior to this, though, museums such as the Cleveland Museum of Art, the Brooklyn Museum, and other important collections. So we have museums in Paris, museums in Spain, and of course here in the Philippines, collect his works. So in terms of a Filipino artist being recognized in the world, is one of the foremost artists talaga. So I'd like to share his story. He came from Reus in Spain, which is in the Tarragona region, which is Catalan. It's not Spanish, it's not Basque, it's Catalan. And he was born in 1929 at 4 years old. They made a 40-day trip. Yeah, to escape. Kasi his father was a free thinker and fascism was on the rise there. There's also that separatist movement between the Catalan peoples and the Spanish government. So they decided to go to the farthest part of Spain, which, formerly Spain, which is the Philippines. So when they came to Manila, they started a life here in Metro Manila. You could see it's very Filipino, kahit naman po di sila. Grew up here, and they came to a thriving city. Yeah, that is Metro Manila in the 1930s when they came. And they were able to establish a wrought iron furniture business. Unfortunately, war happened, World War II happened, and Manila was destroyed. Along with that, because of his fair skin and blue eyes, he was tortured while he was very young. And he also almost died because of the carpet bombing of Manila. So twice during that war, he almost died. After the war, so this is Manila before and Manila after. You could see the devastation. So really, it was a hard time for him and his family. After the war, when things tried to normalize, he enrolled himself in the UP Fine Arts, which was then at Padre Faura, and it was headed by Fernando Amorsolo, and you have artists like Guillermo Valentino, Dominador Castañeda teaching. Yeah. This is him as a young man, and beside him is Larry Alcala, kabarkada niya, now national artist. Behind them is the UP Padre Faura with all the damage from the war. You could see holes from shrapnels and all of that. This is a tank outside UP Padre Faura. So when they were there in 1948, it was still damaged by the war. So UP transferred to Diliman. He was part of the first batch that used that campus. This photo is actually showing the UP library being built. So that gives us an idea of the times he was growing into. And this is their senior class photo. You can see him at the far right, upper right corner. And at the center is Mr. Fernando Amorsolo himself.
Where?
Here, the one with the tie. At the center.
The one on the front?
Yes, the one in front. Yeah.
Isn't he the classmate also for the Senators?
Araceli dances a classmate of, yes, I don't know where she is there though. Yeah, but she's a classmate. In UP, as much like his contemporaries, he learned traditional art. And you could see these works here at the museum, along with other student works like Fundacion Sansó. However, he could not learn to paint the pretty ladies or the farm scenes because of his experience at war. He would gravitate towards beggars, he would gravitate towards victims of the war like himself. As early as when he was a student, he was evolving a style. He would learn from Cesar Legaste and Galo Ocampo, something that was new back then, modern. But he would be recognized for these two works. This one, we've never been able to track because an American bought it during the exhibition. However, this one is here with us. This is the Incubus. And even though Amorsolo was his teacher, you could see how different his art really was, even as a student. Because of winning 2 grand prizes in the Art Association of the Philippines 1951 competition, it led him to believe that he couldn't grow here as an artist anymore. He went to Rome, found it a little too conservative, and went to Paris, where he studied art and became allied with the Expressionists. So early in Sanso's career, it was not really just flowers or landscapes. He did a lot of figurative work, but expressionist in style. So works like these are part of the museum collection. This is from the Lopez Museum. This is part of our collection here. So you would see how different this art was. This is actually a bouquet of faces. It would later evolve into a bouquet of flowers. And from these flowers here, decades later, you would see this. So, constantly evolving, he would often challenge himself to find real expression of the trauma that he found within. A lot of the works have a French feel because that was where he was. And often, the context where he was affected his art. In 1957, he came back to the Philippines and had the first show of art prints, etchings here in the Philippines. Later on, he would be part of the Saturday group, would sketch a lot, and he would find inspiration in baklads, in barong-barong, in Philippine themes, but he would transform them and make them international. So he was able to exhibit his works in New York, in UK, in London, in Paris. So from the 60s, he would tour Europe and Asia and even South America quite extensively. And he would often have a dry brush with him and he would paint scenes like this. You would notice that the black parts are actually the basis for the paintings here. This was when he first visited New York. Very, very Chinese painting-like work. And he would find inspiration in the coasts of Brittany, where he would often go for like 24 summers consecutively and sketch day in and day out. He would go from the morning till late afternoon, and he would be able to master how it looked at certain conditions, when it's windy, when it's sunny, when it's high noon, and integrate that into his prints and his paintings at the same time. In 1964, he would win the print of the year for the Cleveland Art Museum. Dali and Miro were amongst the winners of this prestigious competition. This would become, this flowers, bouquets of faces would be a very persistent theme in his works. So would be the landscape, which would evolve into many forms, having color over the years, until it becomes bright, and even brighter when he went to Iran and had a studio there. As you could see, Senior Sanso is a man of many preoccupations. This is an example of textile design. He designed textile for the likes of Elsa Schiaparelli and Balenciaga. That is an example of the textile design, and he was able to support himself after his studies by making textile designs. As you know, Paris was also a center for fashion back then. Yeah. He also went into opera set and costume design, and did around 7 operas. So this is Le Jeu, one of the operas by Giancarlo Menotti. These are studies for other operas which were never staged. From those, he would learn to integrate techniques into his work. So these are the reverse paintings from the 1980s. So you'd see him evolve. This is from the cliché there. So he would use transparency slides and paint over them and create photographs that were manipulated manually. So they're not photographs anymore. This would become the basis for another series of work which he showed to the Philippines in the 2000s, the abstract works. In 2014, this was founded. At the same time, he retired. This museum focuses on his collection, so he donated his own personal collection. It was augmented by the collection of friends. We were able to inaugurate it in 2014 with Senator Drilon, Mayor Ia Gomez, and Hansi, who is his biggest collector. Since 2014, we've had thematic exhibitions, changing exhibitions of the works of Sanso here in the museum, as well as in other museums. We tried to reach out, so this one is in Ayala Museum, it's opera, and we even staged a snippet of the Magic Flute using his costume design, with Viva Voce making staging it. So that's Mr. Sanso with his costume design, executed by James Reyes. We've also brought Fundacion Sansó to the Art Fair Philippines to reach out to more people, as well as, for example, in Mega Mall, two months ago, we were able to go to the center. Since we're quite out of the road, we go to where the people are, and make it fun. We try to make it fun for everyone. This is Mrs. Versatility, who is the inspiration for that type of painting, the flowers with the red backgrounds, which is called the Versatility series. She graced the event. And we've also hosted works by other artists who have parallel inspirations with Sanso. This is by Linky Sumbigratilo. This is by Pancho Villanueva. This is by Roniel Compra, as an artist from Cebu, who was our first microgrant awardee. We brought his works here, we funded his travel to come here, and fortunately, Ateneo Art Awards recognized him as one of the shortlists. We believe that if it were not for us bringing him here, the jury would not have been able to see his work, which was in Cebu. We've also been creating various workshops for different audiences. This was basic art handling, which has had 4 iterations already in the past several months. So we teach people how to handle art, and here's the first batch. We teach people how to do fundraising. We've also had an informal art in the garden, very small one, where the artists do the sales and make money for themselves. We just provide the venue and don't charge anything at all. And as you can see, it's free entrance. We've made it free so that no one will have to be turned off because they have to pay. We've also had what Mr. Sanso wanted. Our first batch of scholars, which we have grown to 10 now. From our initial batch of 6, we now have 10. And we've tried our best to screen out the fakes from the markets. Because Mr. Sanso is so successful, a lot of people have been tempted to fake his works. You would actually see samples here of fakes and forgeries. So they even tried to forge our own certificate, but you would notice that there are telltale signs, wrong spellings, wrong logos. So to ensure that this will not happen again, we've improved our certificate of authenticity. It's now like money. It has a holographic sticker which is pre-numbered. There's a matching holographic sticker on the artwork. There's microtext. If you would look at the paper behind, there's Fundacion Sansó in very, very small text, which is hard to replicate using a conventional print. And there's also UV ink underneath, so it's like really like money. To control or help abate this forgery in the market and to give our collectors confidence, we've networked with families of similar artists like Imao, even Mr. and Mrs. Ordina, the Olasos, the Amorsolos, so that we could monitor who are the agents or the people who bring in fake works into the market. Unfortunately, our laws are not very clearly defined. There's no implementing rules and regulations on who should be stopping forgers or bringing them to jail. So we've done our own part. We've networked with each other. We give incentives to the galleries and the auction houses who abide by our ruling. And we give penalties to those who consistently bring in fake works to us. On November 24, we're celebrating his 90th birthday. That's on Sunday. With a small salo-salo, with a concert, and then we're also raffling off some of the GK works so that people will, yeah. So please come, anyone can get it. We're raffling off 3 GK works. December 7, we have young artists doing the art in the garden again. We have 64 artists, some of them are quite established, like Linky Subigramilo, Jason Cortez, a lot of others. So 64 artists here, yeah, selling their works at low prices, just for the fun of it. And on February, during the Arts Month, we will be finally launching the final book, the last book of Dr. Ruben Cañeta. Dr. Ruben Cañeta. This is a proof pa lang. We're still going to edit a few things here, but finally we're ready. It took several years, but I guess if you want something done really well, it takes time. So we're happy to launch it in his 90th birthday. This will have 3 books in total. This is the first one. I hope we continue the legacy of Senor, and I hope you'll enjoy it.